Today we are going to look at the two factors which are really important in language. They are listening and speaking. Okay, so associated with listening, we have things like rhythm, pattern, stress and unstress, and consonant. We'll be shortly looking at what they are. And in speaking, we have intonation, elongation, which are long and short letters, and pitch, which is higher and lower. What we have to do when we are doing listening, we have to pay attention to these factors, and when we are doing speaking, we have to basically try to follow these aspects. Okay, yeah. So what are we going to look at here? In listening is very important from IELTS perspective and also just language. If you are a person who wishes to communicate, then definitely listening becomes a very important fact. Okay, without listening, you can't reply, you can't understand what the other person is saying to you, and then you can't basically reply to that instruction or question or whatever is said by that person. So, what is rhythm? Everyone must be familiar with music, right? Without rhythm, there is no music. Okay, for example, when I am touching this wood, there is a sound, right? Okay, so in music, different types of rhythms are there. Okay, so rhythm in language basically means there are a number of sounds in a second. In a second, maybe I can be saying or pronouncing 2 sounds, 3 sounds, 4 sounds. Okay, so if you are listening to a language, for example, it's Russian. Okay, you don't know Russian or German for that matter. Okay, you don't know German. You can only listen to these sounds. So how do the experts try to figure out the meaning of the words? Basically, they would try to segregate the sounds, like differentiate the sounds based on the pattern and try to get a context and idea. Maybe 1 or 2 words are similar to your language. Okay, they say something home. Okay, and then water, a glass, classroom. So you can segregate the other sounds and you can find out. Okay, take the word classroom for example. Classroom, classroom. So I guess we will be able to say and finish this one word within 1 second or a bit more than that. So we are dividing into class, room. Something is going up and something is going down. Right? We'll come to that later. But basically that is rhythm. In rhythm, we have to identify that particular going ups and down. Okay, that's more thing. So what is pattern? Pattern is easily related to rhythm. Whenever we are speaking, there is a pattern. Okay. Every person, for example, sometimes when we are on phone with somebody, we'll easily be able to identify who is it. Maybe your dad or mom or brother. Okay, even if some voice changer is applied, we are able to easily identify who that person is, who is speaking to us. That is because everyone follows a pattern of speech. Okay, so you have a pattern, your friend has a pattern, so you're able to identify that, how they are placing the words, how they are putting the sounds and stuff like that. What about stress and unstress and consonants? Stress and unstress basically means whenever we are following rhythm and pattern, we have every sound. For example, cat. Okay, mouse. So whenever we are saying these words, we are putting stress on what? Cat, mouse. Mostly in nouns in English, we are putting the stress on the first sound. It's not always like that, but when they are said in isolation, like I'm saying the word cat only or mouse only, this applies to them only. But if I am trying to say something like cat eats mouse, then if I am saying fast, like cat eats mouse, so the stress would naturally move to eats. See? So if it's in a sentence, the stress and unstress would change. Okay, that's called unstress, removal of stress. Okay, it's like stress and unstress. So, if I am saying this in isolation, only the word cat and mouse, then what happens? The sound would come on the first letter or first sound of that particular word. Then consonants. Consonants are really important. Both these sounds are consonants. In order to utter or pronounce the consonants, we need to put some more effort. Okay, we need to put some more effort. K, ch, t. So it is easily identifiable, not only in English but any other language. Okay, that's why consonants are important. So when it comes to listening, first we need to focus on the rhythm, just like music. Okay, we need to have a pattern like rhythm in our mind, and based on that we need to pay attention to what the speaker is saying. Okay. Then after that comes the pattern which we identified. Everyone has a unique pattern to them. Then after that, how it goes up and down, which sound is stressed more, which sound is given more importance and less importance. That is stress and unstress. And after that comes consonants, because consonant is where the stress and unstress is placed. Is it clear? Now we are going to look at speaking. Speaking is basically all about how you understood this listening and then you try to replicate it. Okay, then you try to apply it in your own speaking. Basically, if you want to complete language learning, then you need to complete these two factors. First is listening, and then afterwards you should be able to speak properly. So here we can look at the first factor, which is intonation. What is intonation? Intonation basically means the going up and down. I told that I'll come back to classroom later. So when I'm going to say the word class, something is going up. Classroom. Okay, so when I say class, the pitch, the tone is a single word for intonation, is going up. Then when I am saying room, the tone is coming down. So basically, intonation means going up and down, going up and down. Sometimes it goes up and sometimes it goes down. So in a speech, it's not like that. That's why some websites are trying to test it. We are not a robot, it's all about writing. But mostly, a person can identify if it's a robot or a human being. Every human being has a unique intonation. For example, I am speaking right now. I am taking some inferences to my mother tongue, which is Malayalam. Sometimes when I am saying some words, or sometimes when I am saying a sentence, the same intonation which I use in my Malayalam language would come to English language. So, if I am speaking fast, or if I am speaking slightly different, with a slightly different pronunciation, then the native English speaker might have some problem in trying to understand what I am speaking. Similarly, when the native English speaker says something like, I've been to the hotel and I've been to the restaurant and I just came by flight. So there's a difference in there, right? Flight, restaurant. Okay, I went outside. I want to go outside. I came inside. I had a class in the morning. So instead of I can just say I had a class in the morning, that is Malayalam intonation. Okay, the Hindi speaking people speak it with another intonation. The German speakers would speak it with another intonation. So this factor, okay, intonation. Okay, then next one would elongation. This occurs because of elongation. What is elongation? So we have basically A, E, I, O, U, the 5 vowels. Okay. There are other sounds, 44 sounds and 12 vowel sounds, and that will come to that later in another class. But basically R, A, E, O, U. So these sounds are not always short. For example, I am saying the word cat, mouse. In this, the sounds are used only one time. Okay, so it's used a single time. But sometimes these sounds are elongated. So you can't always write two A's. Okay, two A's or two U's. Instead you would say something like restaurant. That E sound is given a little more stress and is slightly elongated. Okay, so sometimes mostly in Indian names we can see elongated vowels, right? Rashid, Grishma. So like in English language also sometimes some words are elongated. In this word it's elongation. The air sound is elongation. That sound is stressed a little bit. So that is like long and short letters. Actually, I should have written vowels, but that is what letters. Then pitch, basically we have seen what is going up and down. Intonation is the pattern of that, and pitch is basically the sound in which we are speaking, going up and down. We can speak with a lower voice. We can start the sound from like diaphragm. Okay. Are you familiar with the diaphragm? Okay. So basically we can start the sound from a diaphragm, like lower part of the body. So if you speak so seriously, if you want to be a politician or a public speaker, then you should be serious. Then you should speak with a high pitch. Then if you want to be casually speaking, singing, or just casually talking to each other, then you use a higher pitch. And if you want attention, okay, if you want attention not as a public speaker or just as a person who is speaking to someone, then you, hey, oi, come here. The British accent is mostly high pitched. Okay, so it's really not easier for a low pitched language like Malayalam speakers to understand it. So in order to understand, we need to practice or imitate or act like the British speakers. Then our body will become familiar, our brain will become familiar with their style of speaking, and after that what happens? It will be easier for us to understand. Okay. Leaving that, so that's all about the pitch becoming high pitch. High pitch is the sound becomes shrieky. Like a high, you must have heard high pitch sounding sounds, right? Okay. And low pitch is basically sounds which have a higher bass, and lesser bass and higher bass. So that's all about the listening and speaking in a short. So yes, that's all. Yeah.